So, good evening. Welcome along. Welcome to Let's Talk Trek Watch Along.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So, tonight we are going to be doing a watch along. How I know this works is that we're going to be watching the episode, and there'll be a timer on the screen, which is to my side over here. Which means that you can watch along at the same sort of time we are. And we're going to chat and natter about how good the episode is and bits of facts and figures and all the rest of it, right? And tonight's episode, for the first one in ages, is Chain of Command, which I believe is Season 6, Episode 10 of Next Generation. So to discuss this with me today, I have at the side of me over this way, Carl.
Hello.
Beneath Carl, there is Richard.
What ho?
And then beneath myself, there is James.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, guys, the episode, should we talk about what we like about it beforehand or after we've watched it?
Well, I was going to suggest, actually, we have a small piece of footage, an interview with David Warner, who plays Gul Malek. Is it?
Gul Madred?
Madrag, in the episode. If anyone would like to see an interview of James interviewing David Warner, we could perhaps play that before we run the episode or after. Before, Carl seems to be very keen on watching it before. He's very keen on seeing this interview with David Warner. So I thought perhaps we could run that as a bit of an intro to the episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So should we kick off with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. In which case, sit back and enjoy this interview with David Warner.
How many lights do you see?
There are 4 lights! Hello everyone, so I have the absolute privilege and honour of having the opportunity for a word with David Warner this afternoon. David, from the point of view of our Star Trek interest, has appeared in 2 of the main feature films, The Final Frontier, as, I think it was St. John Talbot, the way it was put.
Yes, St. John Talbot.
And the second time as Chancellor Gorkon in The Undiscovered Country. Comes to a sticky end. And my favourite, of course, as Gul Madred, the Cardassian Gul who interrogates and tortures Captain Picard in Chain of Command. So, David, first of all, talking about the movies, if I may, which was your favourite, and can you tell us a little bit about working on them?
Well, any job, that's pleasant is my favourite at the time. So, I mean, people seem to remember Chancellor Gorkon. I had a good part in Star Trek V, but a lot of that ended up on the cutting room floor, which happens to, actors of my grade, really. If you're playing a good supporting part, sometimes it becomes less good because they can't fit everything in. It was a pleasant experience to film, but Gorkon was a 3-hour makeup. That was the only problem. But I had Christopher Plummer sitting in the seat next to me, so that was fine. And also the director, Nicholas Meyer, I had worked with before on a film called Time After Time. I think I was quite surprised to be invited to be in Star Trek VI. They must have forgotten I was in Star Trek V.
Yes, different roles in consecutive films, unusual.
Yes, I couldn't quite understand how that happened.
Well, they must have been so impressed with you in 5 that they wanted you back in a far bigger role in 6.
Okay, well, I'll buy that. Yes, okay.
And in 5, actually, the character you play, St. John Talbot, is a very sort of disillusioned diplomat, isn't he? He's on Nimbus 3, saying, the dream of peace died here years ago. And he changes a lot during the course of that film, doesn't he?
Well, yes, but I think you'll find that he just really ends up by standing on the bridge of the Enterprise, watching what's going on, which is fine. I mean, but the actual character wasn't actually developed, or wasn't, you didn't see that in the film. But that's the way it goes, that's showbiz.
And Gorkon, he was also a very interesting character because he was not like any other Klingon that we'd met before. He wanted to sue for peace.
That's what I was told. I mean, I hadn't watched much Star Trek at all before I did it, so I really didn't know about the Klingons. That I was told, of course, when I was preparing for it, that they were really rather evil creatures, and that he was a cross between Gorbachev and Lincoln, actually, with the beard and all and the stuff.
And let's turn to Gol Madred.
Now, you said that was your favourite. Why?
Well, The Next Generation is my favourite of the series, but you, as a baddie, get to really chew the scenery, don't you? And you're opposite Patrick Stewart, and you're so sinister. Tell us about playing the role.
Well, I took it at short notice. Somebody fell ill. And so I had 3 days to kind of prepare. I couldn't prepare for it. I couldn't learn it. And Patrick I had worked with in theatre before, Stratford-on-Avon, years ago. So it was great to work with him again. And when I worked with him, he wasn't a star. And of course, when I worked with him, he was a big star. So it was great to have that chance. But I couldn't learn the lines in time. And there's a lot of dialogue. Yes. So that they were I have no problem telling people this. They wrote all the lines up for me so that I wouldn't hold them up by forgetting them all the time. So it was a wonderful experience to be part of it. And they tell me it's quite a good episode.
It's a hugely popular episode. Yeah. It's very, very good on numerous levels, and your performance, of course, as one of them.
Well, it was a good part.
Mr. Warner, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, so there we are. That was when we got to meet, or James rather, got to meet the incredibly talented David Warner. And I have to say, off camera, he was such a gentleman as well, wasn't he, James? He really was. Absolutely. He couldn't give us enough time.
He didn't get bored of us, which was surprising.
No. I mean, you do find with older people, though, they like it when they find people that listen to them, don't they?
Wow.
Oh dear.
And there goes us ever interviewing David Warner again.
I'm not going to even reply to that because I'll just get into more trouble.
Now, he actually did spend a lot of time with a friend of mine who came along who's a horror fan, because David Warner's done a lot of Hammer material in the past, and he gave very freely of his own time, a lot of time to my friend, and spoke to him at length about his Hammer experiences. And yeah, genuinely one of the nicest actors we've met. And actually, the same weekend we met Carolyn Seymour, didn't we? Who had been the Romulan commander.
We did actually. In the interview with Carolyn Seymour, you can see David Warner in the background, absolutely staring daggers over. And we never worked out why, but he wasn't happy about something. He was really glaring at us. But that was before we interviewed him, so possibly he was angry that we were interviewing her and not him. So there we are. Right. Are we going to crack on with the first episode, then have a short break and talk about that before going on to the second?
I mean, it would just be interesting before we crack on with this one. Just when do you remember first watching this? Do you remember first seeing this, or?
I've got very vivid memories of watch. So I couldn't tell you the exact year, but I know it's before I learned to drive. And my mother had a lodger who backed and forth to the States a lot, and he managed to bring a copy of it over on VHS. And I remember binging this season on VHS. And I'd caught a couple of the episodes when they'd aired. And I think I'd perhaps caught the second half of this one, but not the first one on the television. I couldn't remember it. And I remember watching on a VHS tape and being absolutely enthralled by it, staying up quite late one night watching it.
Fantastic. Carl, any memories of first watching this episode?
In all honesty, no, I don't recall exactly when I first watched it. I just know that once I had watched it, it's one of the ones that I do regularly throw on quite happily and watch over and over again without a problem.
So just quick, there's a few people who've just popped on the stream. We're watching Chain of Command Part 1 and 2 this evening.
Absolutely. Well, shall we start watching, I suppose?
Headphones, yes. James.
So if you have the episode ready and queued up, there should be a timer on screen, which will start when I count down from 5. and that will be your cue to press play. So if everybody is ready, we'll start the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play.
Captain's log, Stardate 46357.4. We have rendezvoused with the starship Cairo near the Cardassian border for an urgent meeting with Vice Admiral Nechayev. Come.
So someone's audio is coming through.
Admiral, welcome on board.
Thank you. That'll be all, Commander.
No, I think it's gone now.
Can I get you some coffee? Tea?
Thank you. No, Captain. I'm afraid there's no time for the usual pleasantries. I'm here to relieve you of command of the
Right,
Enterprise.
it's coming through from somebody because I've got it on mute and I can hear it.
Yeah, I've just muted it as
I
well.
muted too.
Okay, so I'll put mine back on.
It's you, Richard.
Cool.
Richard, you're always the technical dullard.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore
This is
strange
the
new
first of
worlds,
several episodes where we see Admiral
to
Nechayev.
seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Can't be me. I'm still muted and I can hear it.
Well, it must be. I have the tab muted, so it's not me. It's either Carl or James.
James, could you mute yours, please?
I already muted.
Well, it's
Well,
stopped
it's not
now.
coming
You
through
just
and it's stopped now.
whatever you've just done.
And it's back.
Yeah, it's back. James, you know you have to plug your headphones into the one that's playing the film, don't you? What you've done, James,
No,
is
they're on separate computers.
you've muted your microphone, not your headphones.
Well, I've paused the thing, so it's not me.
Yeah, I suspect it to be.
Yeah, mine's still muted.
Yes, Admiral Nechayev.
I quite like Admiral Nechayev. She's
You'll
my
notice-
kind of admiral. She's no
You'll
more-
notice Admiral Nechayev is not wearing a comm badge.
I have noticed that. Could you elaborate?
No.
You'll also notice that Admiral Nechayev is sporting a very 80s blonde kind of hold-up serious hairdo there. I mean, you wouldn't find a serious hairdo like that in Buck Rogers, would you?
I think she probably has a servant to carry her badge for her.
An adjutant. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce that word, but
A punker walla.
it is. Admirals have adjutants, don't they?
They can have adjutants, or they could have a Batman.
Oh.
True or false, Admiral Nechayev is Buffy the Vampire Slayer's mum?
False.
Probably.
True or false, Star Trek Jellicoe is the next spin-off series.
False. He's dead, isn't he?
Let's have a look. Admiral Nechayev.
burn on Riker there.
I quite like those jumpers they're wearing for this mission. They've got a built-in hood in case your ears get cold.
Starfleet, of course, doesn't have special operatives or spies or anything like that, so they just pick someone from the bridge crew of the flagship to do this.
Well, if they have the specialist scientific knowledge that Picard does, yeah.
So Admiral Nechayev was in The West Wing.
What, as Admiral Nechayev?
No, the lady who plays Admiral Nechayev. She was the Israeli ambassador.
I have to say, straight off when you're first introduced to Jellicoe, I like his style. I like the way he does things. No nonsense. He's there to do a job. Just get on with it. I'm not here to make friends. We ain't got time for that. We just got to get done.
And let's not forget that Admiral Nechayev also pops up in Deep Space Nine as well.
Mm-hmm. Does she have a comm badge on in that?
Who's going to look after the Cairo then?
I wonder why they passed Riker over. Like what the canon reason being. I mean, we know why, it's to make a good story, but like what the story reason was for not letting Riker have command.
Yes, I imagine your first command can't be the Federation flagship.
He's been in charge of it before, so.
If you're J.J. Abrams, however, a cadet can be given command of the flagship of the Federation from straight out of the Academy, so there is precedent.
Yes, exactly. The only thing Jellicoe does wrong here is not giving Riker a damn good lashing in front of the rest of the crew to set an example.
Do what you're damn well told, Riker.
Get that fish out of the ready room.
Apparently,
And
that
I
was,
want it. I want that fish out of the ready room and on my plate for dinner. I'm going to eat Picard's fish.
and what was the name of the fish?
Livingston.
How do you know that?
Livingston is credited in more episodes than any other character. True or false?
True.
It is true.
And I know that because I am the official quizmaster for the European Star Trek Convention. Just thought I'd throw that in there, you know.
That's it. That's his catchphrase. Get it done. I like that. Get it done.
What do you reckon the Geological Research Lab are doing while they're drifting around in the neutral zone?
Probably researching geological things.
You would have thought so.
Hello, Katie. Katie says the Geological Lab are looking for rocks to throw at the Federation.
Bravo, Katie. Bravo.
True or false? The pictures painted for Jellicoe's son fail to mention Jellicoe's son is 27 years old.
Ah. I'm going to say true.
Yes, if you've just jumped in on the stream, we're watching Chain of Command, Season 6, Episode 10, and we are currently 15 minutes, 43 seconds in. We're just seeing Captain Jellicoe show you how you should command a ship rather than the...
I mean, I think we've all been... victim is the wrong word, but we've all had experiences where we've had a new employer at some point or a new boss come in and having to adapt to them. It's quite a relatable thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've always maintained that a great boss can shout and get... Sorry, a good boss can shout and get things done like Jellicoe does. But a great boss doesn't have to shout, and that's Picard. And that's the difference between the two. Picard doesn't have to shout or get angry or pull rank. People just do as they're told around him. Whereas Jellicoe, he's not as good as Picard, so he has to, and he hasn't got time to develop the relationship, so he has to do it this way. I think he does it the right way. I love that painting on Picard's wall.
I tell you what, though, if he thinks the training's bad, wait until he gets on the mission. Oof, he hasn't got a clue what's coming, has he?
No.
True or false? As Picard is no longer the commanding officer, he has to actually pay rent for his quarters while he's occupying them.
False.
The Federation, they don't have money, James. They've evolved beyond that.
They have gold press and Latin and all sorts of things.
James, true or false? As the Enterprise moves through various spatial quadrants, it has to pay council tax in each one.
There's an
not
exemption
conservative.
because they're transitory.
I don't think it's a conservative Federation. Yes, well said, Katie. I think Jellicoe does a sterling job. Hasn't got time to give him a chance.
That's the most polite way of saying "don't die" that I think I've ever heard.
I think the way that Patrick Stewart delivers "thank you" there is the most veiled way of saying "f you" I've ever heard in my entire life. It was brilliant.
This episode, it's very strange we're watching it today with the geopolitical situation in the world being the way it is at the moment.
Thank you.
It makes you wonder how many different commanders around the world at the moment are having the same preparations and the same trepidations and things exactly today,
Are you saying the Cardassians are Russians?
I did not say that.
I would.
I would not say that about Gul Putin at all.
For our regular viewer, here's some artwork that I've prepared for Richard for his ready room. That's the Martian dome there, with Richard being entertained by C6 Steve.
Is Metagenics No, that's not the weapon they use in Nemesis. Is it? That's a Thalon radiation or something.
Thaleron.
Thaleron.
So, if you were to reboot the Next Generation as Abrams did with the original series, I mean, who would you have play Worf? It's got to be The Rock, in it. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Either The Rock or, for the seriousness but with a slight humorous twist,
Chris Rock.
no.
You're always so quick to rule out Graham Norton there for the Worf role.
Chris Eubank.
I was thinking, just because of the fact he's very well built and quite steady, Terry Crews.
Yeah, Terry Crews would be good. He looks really good in a bra as well, Terry Crews.
Right, let's have a look at Katie's put.
Thank you, Katie.
Yes, I can't recall the actor's name, but he's one of those character actors who seems to play the same role no matter what it's. So he was in RoboCop and played a very similar character in RoboCop, a very no-nonsense kind of executive businessman with a job to do. He's just going to damn well get it done, you know.
Total Recall as well, I believe.
Yeah, exactly the same character, and that's why it's Dick. Oh, Dick, what's his name? Can't remember the actor's name. Dick something.
The actor's name? Ronnie Cox.
Ronnie Cox. Not Dick something then.
No.
Okay. It's a nice shuttle. What Mark shuttlecraft is that, James?
Well, there's actually a discrepancy there because the interior isn't for a Type 6 shuttlecraft.
No, there was far too much velour, wasn't there?
Now, here's an interesting point, dear viewer. That's actually the Replimat set from Deep Space Nine redressed.
Is it?
In fact, this entire scene was written originally so that the Ferengi we now see on screen would have been Quark and the set would have been his bar in DS9.
Oh,
well, that would have been.
That's the Probert design shuttle that we see as the exterior, isn't it? Yes.
However, because they pushed back the start of DS9 to the January, and this episode was aired in the December, they had to cut Quark from it. They wanted to use it as the first crossover episode.
Now you say it, I can hear Armin Shimon's voice.
I think he sounds like Neelix, actually.
Apparently, all they did was literally redress the set and get a different actor in. They never changed any of the scripts and stuff. So if you imagine this being played across Quark's bar, that's what it was originally intended to be.
I wonder if that's Quark's headpiece, because they're quite expensive to make, aren't they? I wonder if they just used the same one.
There were several used in Deep Space Nine. There were several Ferengi waiters, for instance.
Could be waiter number 2's head. Has a dead brother.
Brunt FCA.
Brilliant.
Nobody move.
love the way that Walker's so unimpressed with.
Yeah.
like, it's like pitiful Ferengi.
I love the fact that they've got Michael Dorn into something that is essentially a cross between medical scrubs and pajamas.
It's very unbelievable, that scene. That Ferengi's not even a ghost.
No.
I mean, basically, Picard's adjusting the squelch there.
Mm.
Why don't they just use a ball of string like everyone else?
Or
Or
breadcrumbs.
breadcrumbs. Yeah, breadcrumbs. James, you know a lot about canon. Roughly, what's the lifespan of a Klingon?
I don't believe we're told it's significantly different than humans.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
I
think so.
thought it was actually longer.
Because I
was
thought we
gonna
had the
say.
Klingon that was in the original series that was
Mm.
that fought Kirk, that's friends with Jadzia.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
had
DS9.
Admiral McCoy turn up at the beginning of Encounter at Farpoint, didn't you? So by that point in time, humans are living into the 130 mark.
Well, true, but McCoy couldn't exactly wield a bat'leth like Gorkon or whatever
You
his
may
name was.
test that supposition at your convenience, sir.
Fair play.
According to Memory Alpha, Klingons range between 100 and 150. Koloff was expected to be 150 at the point of his death.
So it's pretty good for 150 then, wasn't he?
Mm.
You ever seen the film Contact?
Yes.
Jodie
Remember
Foster.
the aliens in that look a bit like a weird elephant?
Is that the one with Jodie Foster?
That's
Yes.
the one.
I don't
No,
think Jodie Foster looked like an elephant.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Arrival. That's the one I'm thinking of, with the aliens that look like the elephants.
Contact is the one where she makes the machine that the pod falls through. It takes
No,
forever.
I'm thinking of Arrival. The thing that's the sort of giant vertical stone-like spaceship with the elephants on board. Looks like the picture on Jellicoe's wall there. What? No rocket-powered jet boots?
Imagine you're trying to, when you're infiltrating what you think is a base, trying to keep your energy signature as low as possible.
And this is the first time we see the new Cardassian uniform as well.
Do you remember their ridiculous headgear that they had when they first?
So if you are just joining us, we are watching Chain of Command, and we are 32 minutes and 42 seconds into it.
Season 6, Episode 10.
Picard's tricorder is revealing there that all of these rocks are made out of polystyrene.
That's a fascinating little nugget of information there, Gary. Thank you.
Amazing how quickly that rock cooled back down for them to crawl through, isn't it?
What was it you were saying about keeping your energy signature low?
Well, yes, indeed.
Do you think on Cardassia there's just like one barber? And you all have to go and see that? Or like they're all from the same guild or something? You never see a Cardassian with like a bouffon, do you?
No.
Or a coiffeur? Or a beehive?
I think it's the Cardassian equivalent of a crew cut, because you do see civilians with slightly different hair.
It's very military, isn't it? So, it's, yeah.
Cardassians do go through quite a significant sort of change throughout TNG and DS9.
I'm always for that. You know, if you find a design that you can improve upon, you should do. So the first Cardassian we saw did look a bit silly, didn't it? Let's be honest. And that was Mark Alamo, wasn't it? I think he was the first one we got to see.
Yeah.
Now, it may interest you if you watch carefully how clean Beverly comes out of this.
apparently all this underground part was not the pleasantest sequence for them to film, because on the Paramount lot, apparently it was rife with lots of cats just running around feral. And there's an awful lot of sand on this particular set, and cats and sand make for a very unpleasant mix.
I was just thinking, from the Cardassians' perspective, surely once they're there on the planet, they've got them. Why do they make them go up and abseil down things and crawl through caves? Surely any time they could just grab them, couldn't they? I mean,
Yeah, but if you were going to capture them for torture, wouldn't you make them do all that first as well? Drain their energy a bit first.
Look how pronounced Worf's eyebrows are.
Yeah.
They could have put in an image of John Barrowman. That would have confused it.
A trap. Yeah. A trap.
So, Worf used their Sakat Malat, which is a unknown Filipino martial art that involves mainly elbow strikes and palms. You don't use your fists. When he developed the martial art, and Michael Dorn had a bit of a conflab with his stuntmen developing the martial arts of the Klingons to do with the sand, the strikes and stuff they'd use as well.
At this point, does Crusher outrank?
Yes.
Yeah. But in reality, in that sort of situation, if he wasn't injured, I think I'd have just let Worf go back in there and rescue the captain, because he probably could have done.
Crusher was always, from the very first episode, she appeared a commander, wasn't she?
Mm.
And in one of the episodes, we know that she's got her bridge test certificate, so she's allowed to command the Enterprise.
Yep.
Yes.
It's like her
Descent
driving
she
Part
does.
2.
She does command it as well in one episode, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah, in Descent Parts 1 and 2, I believe.
It's what leads to Troy trying to pass the same test.
Now, bear in mind that those two panels at the back, he'd ordered ready for weapon status and damage control, yet it's still a science console at that point.
Mm.
So if you've just joined the stream, we're watching Chain of Command, TNG Season 6, Episode 10. And we're 43 minutes in.
She's got a comm badge back there.
I've spent the whole episode worrying about this whole comm badge business.
Mm.
here he is.
He does make a very good Cardassian.
Thing is, he talks like that in real life.
Mm.
You know, he's not putting on a voice there. That's how he speaks.
The information he has on Picard is not particularly amazing when you consider they had Wikipedia in the 24th century too.
Mm.
And that's a very sad truth of the modern world we live in.
Mm.
Oh, right. Well, before we dive into the next episode, dear viewer, do we have any thoughts that we'd like to share? Right. Well, I'll get another beer then. Okay.
Oh, that's terribly exciting, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
So Katie says that auto subtitles have corrected Cardassians to Kardashians.
Yes, well, state of the modern internet, I suppose.
Now, when we restart episode 2, we will, of course, skip the recap, which is what Netflix would automatically do.
No, it wouldn't. It would automatically play the recap.
No, mine has just skipped the recap and gone straight into it.
Has it?
It gives you the option to press the button of skip recap, unless you've got a setting for auto skip recap.
Oh, mine's jumped to 131.
How rude.
Now, Debbie says it's a great idea to do a watch party, and so thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for joining us. Katie said she's having to watch
all the time.
Katie said she's working from memory, so at the moment is unable to watch along.
Oh.
So you're watching us, but not the episode. Well, that's very flattering. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Now, the question I've got, and I'm not sure if it's answered in the episode, it might be. This part of the interrogation, is this Gull part of the Obsidian Order? Which is obviously something we learn about later on through DS9.
It's never mentioned.
I think he must be. Because if they were to capture an asset as valuable as Picard, they wouldn't hand him over to be interrogated by the Chuckle Brothers, would they?
To me, to you.
Actually, these days, James, it's just to me. To me.
But they'd hand him over to the top brass. So I think, yes, I think we can safely say that he was a member of the Obsidian Order, and it's very sad they didn't bring the character back in later episodes of DS9. He'd have made, I can't remember who it was they got to play the head of the Obsidian Order that was Garrick's mentor.
But Tane, wasn't it? Was the
yeah, but they should have made it. They should have made it David Warner. It'd have been better.
I mean, this would have been an interesting one to watch, the interrogation, if Tane had been doing the interrogation. Because the guy who plays Tane does that sort of eelness very well.
It was okay. I preferred David Warner. And that's not just because we met him and he was really nice to us. No, it's because we met him and he was really nice to us.
Okay. Well, like we say, again, if you're watching us, we are watching the two-part episode Chain of Command. It is a watch-along. We probably do these once every month or so, as we get time. And if you have an idea of what we can watch on the next one, please feel free to pop it into the comments. We do like a good episode to watch.
All the three
Shall we?
So,
well, should we crack on with Season 6, Episode 11, The Chain of Command, Part 2?
No, can we just check where exactly we are starting from? Because, like I say, Netflix at 0000 does have the recap to play.
Now, let's start from 000 because it
I
makes your
think so.
time easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it would make it easier if we just start from Netflix 000. So
Yeah.
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play.
That Majel bit last time I started Next Generation. I remember that from Best of Both Worlds.
Yes. Yes.
Or was that previously on Saturday? Fire.
That's a lovely shuttlecraft. It's a Type 6, did we say?
Yes.
Well, the interior is a Type 6, but that's something like a Type 30. I can't remember the exact number, but they never built the full-size replica of it because it was too difficult for the carpenters to assemble.
They should have got a different band, shouldn't they? Or, maybe Kiss or AC/DC. Someone a bit more hardcore than the Carpenters. Or Daft Punk. They'd have done a good job, wouldn't they?
They
They're
might have
sort of
struggled with
spacey.
those helmets on.
Yeah.
Maybe Men at Work.
And now the conclusion. What is your favorite color?
What is the velocity of a migrating swallow?
Where did you get that coconut from?
I do quite like the sort of black top that Picard's wearing.
I do hope that
he
the
meant-
Federation's defense plans for Minos Corva involve some panzer divisions.
Unladen, Katie. We don't believe in laden in a swallow.
I tell you what, that's,
this. Sorry, Carl.
I was just going to say that Gul Madred's assistant there, he really meant that increase to 0.31, didn't he?
Just going to say it doesn't matter how many times I see the intro to the Next Generation, I never, ever skip intro. Literally, not once have I ever skipped the intro. Even when I've binged like 10 episodes in a day, I've always watched and loved the intro. It's fantastic. And when the first time I saw it in HD, joygasm, my word.
Well, I'm right in thinking it's ILM that did this, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think you may be right.
I would have thought so.
This is the type of episode where we need our friend Doug Drexler on, telling us about
Friend of the show, Doug Drexler.
props and things like that. Although it is quite... This episode, especially the interrogation, it is a very one set type of,
It's quite a dark episode, this as well.
You see, it was originally written and intended to be only a single episode, not a two-parter.
I'm glad they made it a two-parter. Because you've got two very different episodes, two dynamics.
Well, do you remember when we were interviewing friend of the show, James Swallow? And he was explaining that his story that got picked up for Voyager, the episode 1, the reason it got picked up was because they realised it would be extremely cheap to make because it basically just had 7 of 9 in for the whole episode. that's how they managed to draw this out into a two-parter, because effectively they only had to pay for Patrick Stewart and David Warner for the majority of the second episode.
It's a well-known production trick because back in the day, I mean, these days, most TV series, an entire series is just 8 episodes and they have a mid-season break because they all need a rest. Back in the day, you'd have 20-odd episodes a season would have to be rolled out. And this is something actually I read on the production notes of Doctor Who. They would film episodes the same as they did with Star Trek. They kind of pioneered it, and they'd call them double bankers, where they could literally film 2 episodes at the same time and save on money and resources and bits and pieces. And that's exactly what they did here.
And apparently at this point during season 6's production, they were over budget, and this was the episode that brought them back in line.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best episodes are ones with very little sort of set pieces and things. I mean,
Well, you look at best of both worlds. I mean, the Borg invasion of Earth was the defense fleet was 3 ships that just got blown away enemies.
I mean, I'm actually thinking of the episode where Riker is doing the play.
Oh, Frame of Mind. That's one of my favourite episodes. Yeah, I love that.
There's not a lot to it set-wise in that, really.
Same with Measure of a Man. It's just set in a courtroom. The whole
just
episode
really,
with
really
4
good
or 5
writing.
people in there.
Really good writing, really good acting. And I think that they'd reached a stage with Star Trek The Next Generation where they knew they had actors that could carry it off. You didn't need a big special effects set piece. You didn't have to have action to sell the episode. The actors could do it themselves. It's kind of a shame, and this is no disrespect to Voyager because I really like it, but Voyager never hit those heights. Voyager's figures and that were struggling before 7 and 9 came in, and they introduced a bit more action and a bit more TNA into it. But certainly with The Next Generation, they realised they could do it because the actors were good enough.
A couple of other episodes that only had very minimal sets. I can't remember the name of it. It's a 2-parter. It's DS9. It's the one where Garrick's in the wall.
Yes.
Because the real set pieces you've got in that are, let's be honest, inside the wall.
Yeah, there's the wall.
The prison cell.
Yeah.
And the ring with the fighting in. And that's about
I mean, you could have filmed the whole thing at Pontins. Really.
That's how Pontins are so cheap, Richard.
If it wouldn't have likely ended up in more punishment, I would attempt just to give the interrogator some really screwy false intel, like something about clowns and Ferengi.
Yeah.
You can say that the Ferengi and the gorilla suit has to go.
Has to go.
Exactly, it has to go. Yeah. Or deliver a death curse.
There is an episode of, I know Rich is not a massive fan, but there's an episode of Stargate SG-1, which I believe James, you've seen all of SG-1, haven't you?
Just not seen it, that's all.
James, you've seen all of SG-1?
I have seen all of SG-1, yes.
There's an episode of SG-1 where Jack O'Neill is being interrogated in a cell with the one with the gravity.
Oh, yes, so they changed the ceiling into the floor and the
Yes,
walls.
and Bol keeps dropping acid onto him. And knives. And very much the same sort of interrogation feeling. It's like, oh, so tense. So, and again, that's an episode that's very little in the way of set pieces.
They have the means to heal O'Neill as well, don't they? So they torture him.
Torture him to death and then keep bringing him back.
So they can do it again. Nice letter opener there.
Mm.
So this is exceedingly clever writing. This is pretty much identical to the way that the Japanese used to interrogate prisoners in the Second World War. It really is scarily, well, not scarily, obviously the writers, that's where they took it from.
Now, if you look at Patrick Stewart's chest, there is a scar from where he had his heart transplant. Not Patrick Stewart, but the character Picard.
Oh, is this after Tapestry, is it?
Yes.
There was every chance. You got scared and ran away, to be honest. She's secretly hoping that he's going to become a ghost. We all know her plan.
Replicator, 1 candle, please.
Haunted.
We got to remember, for the time of day this was usually shown, which was pre-Watershed, to show torture and things at this time was, There you go. Can you see the scar?
Mm.
I'd have thought it's a bit high for a heart.
Yeah,
surgery,
it's
though.
not where I would have taken someone's heart out. Medical
No,
stuff's
but if you
different in the
look,
future.
if you look at the, if you rewatch Tapestry, it comes out very similar to where the Nautican knife does.
I think you should recheck that.
Charlotte.
You'll find it comes out more central of his chest.
If only we knew some kind of specialist cardiology nurse.
I can call in a specialist at the end of the episode if you'd like.
Well, why don't you call her?
I think we all know that the heart is not there, though. The heart is there.
Mr. Richard, why don't you call her now, and then she can hobble to you at the end of the episode?
Yeah, it'll take her that long to get here.
See, it's just explained the scar.
Yeah. It was a nice thought, though.
I thought that's what it was. My mistake.
Oh, is Madrid telling us the scar is from implanting the torture device?
Yes.
course, after torturing Picard with the pain device, Madred plans to then show him an evening with John Barrowman.
Just to finish him off.
I had a history teacher who had a shit-eating grin just like that. I hated him too. I really did.
It's very shouty, isn't it?
It was all, you had that feeling like Warika was going to hit him.
Thing is, let's face it, I know we're supposed to not like Jellicoe's decision there, but in that situation, he is making the correct call.
Oh, Data's wearing red. This is cool.
Long overdue, in my opinion.
James, has your pizza arrived?
Sorry?
Has your pizza arrived?
I was eating it on the screen earlier. Did you not notice, or was I really very subtle?
I noticed. I was doing this.
And why does Jellicoe have a Christmas tree?
He's a very festive man.
Oh, maybe this is the secret Christmas episode that we never knew about. Let's look for festive clues.
Maybe that's why the fish had to come out.
Well, he's wearing red, a bit like Santa Claus.
No beard, though.
The fish was taken out as a let's keep Patrick Stewart happy move, wasn't it?
Was it?
Livingston
Didn't
stayed
like the fish.
in the series, didn't he?
Yeah, they took it out because apparently he wasn't keen on having a captive animal on set in a series that's supposed to respect all life.
What, the Japanese fighting fish?
Yeah, apparently he wanted it gone for a long time.
Doesn't he keep dogs?
Rescue dogs, though.
Rehome dogs, yes.
Yeah, but they're still captive animals. That could have been a rescue fish.
It could have been. Can't imagine he was too keen on that ferret just being on set with him then.
Well, I admire his principle, but as in many cases, sometimes practicality overrules.
My daughter is the same. Has no time for me, but I adore her all the same.
Hmm.
And of course, a very big happy birthday to your daughter for today as well.
Yes,
Happy
4
birthday, Isabel.
today. 4.
Hmm.
Which means it must be more than 4 years since our stay in the lodge in the woods.
Indeed, because at that point we chose to announce the pregnancy of the present Mrs. Dillon.
Not her pregnancy, but her being pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, by this time, the Kardashians and the Federation have been at war for some time, haven't they? And
You just did an autocorrect. You called them Kardashians. I heard it.
I thought I was the only one who'd sunk 3 cans of lager. He does sound very Russian, doesn't he? There's no two ways about it. I mean, in fairness, you know, you're attempting to torture a man who was once assimilated by the Borg. He's going to be a tough cookie to crack, and he's
Yeah.
double hard bastard is the word I'd use to describe him.
Warp 8.5. Ooh.
ooh, Sunday dinner.
It's interesting that he says he was at home and then says home is Lavar, France, because in every other thing he always says that the Enterprise is his home. But only in this episode does he describe, you know, back in Lavar, France as being home. Yes, I think I would have gone to Risa as well.
Don't be so fast to rule out Pontins.
No, we'll like to go to Pontin to see Garrick in his wall, wouldn't we? And Worf fight a few Jem'Hadar.
Hey, Garrick, bring on the wall.
I've not seen it, but I've seen a commercial for what you. I understand that reference. Yes, I got that. Oh, sod her. She always wanted to be a ghost anyway. Off you go.
Step up, Bev. It's a war.
That's it in Futurama. Scalpel, blood bucket, priest. Next patient.
Yummy.
It's very similar to when I took James to a Mexican restaurant.
Yes. Anyway.
Oh, do you know what we've missed while we've been watching this? When it went 22-22, today being the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022.
Oh,
Never mind. Oh.
Again, quite a hardcore thing for before. Well, it's after 6 o'clock, but before 9 o'clock. What shuttlecraft are we looking at here, James?
Well, that looks like a Type 6 to me.
Sufficient of a lure.
So Debbie says that Picard was obviously trying reverse psychology there.
Absolutely.
Those cases that you see being loaded into the back of the shuttle there are storage cases for American Navy sonobuoys. And they appear in numerous episodes of TNG and DS9 as props. And no matter how hard I've tried, I cannot track any down.
What are they called again?
Sonobuoy cases.
Solo boy cases.
Sono. Sonobuoy. Or as our American friends would say, sonobuoy.
Oh, yes.
Oh no, my beer's developed a fault. I'm going to have to go and find another one.
You really can't get a hold of them for love nor money, can you? Wonder why. It's that you're welcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
F you, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's the cream on the cake.
Personally, I'd like to have seen Tom Paris at the helm there, because he's the best pilot there ever was. Again, there seems to be too much velour in that for it to be a Type 6. So deploy the mines. Is he literally just lobbing them out the back? Like, opening the deploy the mine. Whoosh. You see, the thing I don't understand about this scene is if he has the energy to do that, then surely he's got the energy to bury it into Goldemek's head when he comes through the door.
How many lights do you see, Picard? There are 4 lines.
Who delivered that better, me or Patrick Stewart?
It's close, but I think
It
Stuart
is
edged
close.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
with Patrick Stewart, you can see why he goes. With you, it came off a little bit crazy. There was no apparent reason for your outburst of. It's at that point you want Q to appear with the mariachi band again, isn't it? He's back!
Ba, 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 ba.
Interestingly, Marina Sirtis quite likes this episode because she managed to get rid of the cheerleader outfit at this point.
Mm.
Will she keep her on the teal uniform?
Yeah, the way she voiced it was when she lost her tits, she got better storylines. Simple as that.
Mm.
Ugh.
And she was very keen for women to be seen as in positions of command and power, in more of an equality thing, less space cheerleader, more senior crew member.
I mean, we did have Beverly Crusher without any cleavage doing that anyway, but I get her point. Actually, on the subject of breasts in Star Trek, I always think that
You have to
Galaxy. Well, no, but Galaxy Quest did it best with Sigourney Weaver. You know, in the interview, complaining that a Star Trek or a Galaxy Quest magazine had 4 pages dedicated to it, the intricacies of her cleavage. And I know it was meant as a comedy line, but it did make you think. You know, how must Marina Sirtis feel to be objectified in that manner? That's why although it was a comedy, it was quite a serious point.
Well, if you have joined us for a watch along, thank you very much. We do appreciate you spending some time with us. That was Chain of Command, parts 1 and 2.
Parts 1 and 2.
Now, if you've enjoyed us rambling about it in the background, we'll be doing another watch along in a couple of weeks' time. And if you have any, it is to 1 a month roughly. So, any ideas what we should watch next? Feel free to drop it in the comments. Alternatively, we will choose one between ourselves. Don't forget you can catch us every single week doing Let's Talk Trek on a Sunday at 9 p.m. UK time. So we're on...
Where we are a little more talkative.
Absolutely. So you can catch us on Let's Talk Trek on a Sunday evening at 9 p.m. in the UK time. Once again, many thanks to my colleagues from the USS Riker's Beard.
Hello.
You're welcome.
And for us from Trek Galaxy Galaxy. And that is it for tonight. Thank you very much.
If we can take one thing away from tonight's episode, dear viewer, when you go to work tomorrow, just get it done.
Good night, all.
No,
Good night.
Look after yourselves and each other.
Tatty bye.